how to do what we're doing. In a second, all you're doing is you're just isolating a variable, exactly the same as you always have been. The only thing you have to make sure you do is that you do it correctly. So we're not going to do steps. We're not going to write out steps today. All we're going to do is kind of go through, and a couple of them have more than one right way to do it. That's very important for you to understand, that you can actually do them more than one way. And I want you to do whatever is going to work for you. Okay? So kind of over to this side, we're actually going to work number 1 off this paper together. And just taking a look at it. So we've been solving equations that have variables on both sides, that have fractions, all that stuff. Now, we've got an equation that has a 4 that is sitting right there next to the 7x plus 3. What operation is implied? Don't yell it out because I might ask somebody. What operation is implied when you've got a number just sitting next to those parentheses? Somebody at table 5. What are we doing when the 4 is just sitting next to the parentheses? Is that adding, subtracting, multiplying, what? That is multiplying. Okay, that you're actually using that distributive property that we reviewed last week. Oh, you just asked a great question. Okay, so would we consider the 4 to be a negative? Yeah, we consider that 4 to be a negative. Okay, so negative 4, it sure is. It's going to be a negative 4. So that should be a visual clue to us about what we should do. Go ahead and try. Based on that little clue I just gave you, what's the first step? I want you to just write down what you think, because I know we're not doing anything you don't already know how to do today. We're just kind of putting 8 different things together. Okay? So do what you think that first step should be based on that little clue I just gave you. And I love, Lucas, that you noticed that, yes, that should be a negative. Jalen, I see some really good stuff on your paper. Would you mind telling me what you put on the right-hand side? How would you do with that negative 4? Okay, and what did you get when you multiplied that by 7x? So negative 28x. And then what did you do when you did the 4? What did you do with the 4 and the 3? Yep. So what Jalen just did that I love is that he avoided a very common mistake. Here's what a lot of people do wrong all the time. They multiply the first 2 numbers, but then they forget that they got to multiply the 4 and the 3 as well. If I had $1 for every kid I've seen do that, man, I would be a very rich lady. So don't forget, distributive property means you got to multiply everybody by that number outside the parentheses. Remember, that was red because it's wrong. So now, and I'm very visual, so I always draw myself I draw a little line through my equal sign, and I draw that little circle down there is like the base of an equation. That's to help me remember, because for me, it makes sense for me to remember that an equation is like a balance beam. If I do something to one side of the equal sign, I got to do it to the other. So that's why I draw that line straight down the equal sign, and I draw like kind of an imaginary little base, like a bottom to my equation. So I'm just going to bring down that 128. So now our goal, whenever we're solving an equation, doesn't matter how complicated, we have the same goal every single time. What is our goal when we're solving an equation?
To
isolate that variable. We're trying to get this variable by itself. So we got to use inverse operations, fancy word for opposite, to get rid of the stuff that's chilling out there with the x. We could deal with that negative 28 first. Okay, I'm getting ready to show you something that you could do. Don't write it down yet, because you might not like the way I'm doing it right now. Okay? But you could do it the way I'm doing it. You could, because that 28 is sitting next to the x, and what does that imply when something's just sitting next to something? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, what? Multiply. So I could cancel out that multiplication by division. I could do that. But let me show you why I wouldn't do that. Because if you divide that one by 28, you got to divide everything by 28. Who wants to do 12 divided by 28 and deal with a decimal? I don't want to. So what I would do instead is deal with that negative 12 first. And of course, we all know we're going to do that by adding 12. So it's going to cancel. If you add 12 to one side, you're going to add 12 to the other side. So that is going to leave you with 140. And I'm going to bring down that 28x, but I'm getting ready to make a mistake. What am I getting ready to do wrong? I forgot to do something. What'd I forget? I left something hanging. I forgot my negative. Don't forget your negative. There is a negative in front of that 28. Again, if I had $1 for every kid that has forgotten a negative, not because you don't know how to do it, okay? So now I need to cancel out that negative 28 by canceling 28 sitting next to the x means multiply. So the inverse of multiplying is dividing. Yep. And I'm dividing by a negative 28, not just a 28. Again, you're allowed to use a calculator for this, guys. You better use it. So help me. Don't make me lose my mind on this, okay? Don't make a mistake. So it's going to be a negative 5. Because I did 140 divided by a negative 28. So that canceled and left me with an x. So my final solution is x is equal to negative 5. So we just did, y'all already knew how to do what we just did. It's just putting together all the steps we've been doing. It's combining distributive with a two-step equation. Nothing new here at all. Absolutely nothing new here. Now, I'm going to have you do number 2 on your own in a minute. But first, I'm going to do number 3. We're going to skip number 2. Yes, sir. So number 3.
All right, here we go. All right, somebody tell me what to do first. Hey, hold on. Well, hold on. Let me ask you this. What do we notice about this equation is different from the one we just did?
There's more than no.
Well, hold on. Relax, man. One of me is 1,000 of y'all. That's what I normally say. Go ahead. Shorty, what you got?
There's like 2 equations.
There's 2 equations, right? You agree, Lucas?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what can we just assume in looking to solve this problem? The first thing we can do is probably what? With this equation on the left side. What do we assume we're going to do with that to start out? We're just going to go ahead and bring it down, right? All right. I like to rewrite.
How come we're not putting 5K and 27 together? Because I think it'd be easier to put stuff together, right?
Right.
Because they're not like terms.
They're not like terms. All right. So since they're not like terms. All right, so what I'm going to do on this right side starting out, somebody help me out. Raise your hand. Go ahead, Elijah. Okay, distributive property, and we know anytime we see a number outside of parentheses, that means to do what? Multiply. So negative 5 multiplied by 2 is what? Negative 10. Negative 5 multiplied by positive 8. We've got negative 40, and you said what? K, right? Because it's a variable attached with it. What do we do with this negative 8? Bring it down, right? So now I rewrote my problem. Now do I have like terms? Brooklyn, what do you see my like terms are? Okay. Do any of these numbers have a variable?
Yes.
Which ones?
40 and 5.
All right. But this 40's got a what in front of it? All right. So we can do that. All right. Going back to it. Now on this side of the problem, because I like this, these are like terms as well. Would y'all agree?
Yes.
The greens are like terms? Yes. Why are they like terms?
Because they don't have a variable.
They don't have a variable. So let's make this problem as simple as we possibly can. Let's go ahead. We want to try to do what with the equation?
Combine like terms,
but first and foremost, try to make it equal, balance it out, right? So on this right side, I can go ahead and bring my negative 40K down, right? But what about negative 10 minus 8? What's that equal? Negative 18, right? What I'm going to do with this 5K plus 27? I'm going to go and bring it on down, right? All right. Now, do I have any more like terms, Brennan?
Ooh, can I ask you something? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Wait and ask you.
Go ahead.
I feel like you have some like terms because you have a 27 right there and you have a negative 18 right there. So you can put them together.
That's why it was my next step.
It is.
Yeah. I was trying to give him the. All right.
Well.
All right. But since we can't, here we go. Negative 27.
Oh, no. I mean, put together the plus 27 and the minus 18. I want to combine them. Am I right? Or am I just somebody correct me if I'm wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong not a minus. I don't want to do a minus 27. I want to do.
Oh, you want to go ahead and combine them?
I want to add. Yes, I want to get rid of those 27s, those minus 27. I want to just put in my calculator plus 27 minus
That equals
18.
9.
Okay, can I do that? Can I do positive 27 plus negative 18?
Yes, because they're both integers without variables.
Yeah, they're like terms.
No.
Why you
Because if you do plus 27 plus negative 18, if you do plus 27 on this side, it doesn't cancel out the 27.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Darn it, you're right. You got me. Okay.
Very, very tricky. All right, so.
Seems confusing.
Carry on.
All right, so does anybody? So since Doc, hear me out. So since Doc said we can't do plus 27, can we do this?
Yes.
Why? Why does this? Why are we allowed to do this? Chloe, why do you think we can do this?
Because there's a negative.
Is your name Chloe?
Okay.
All right.
We know I love the enthusiasm though, Lucas, but
Why do you think we can subtract 27 on both sides? It cancels it out, right? They're like terms, right? So again, I like drawing my lines. Here we go. Bring down my 5K. 27 minus 27 is what, Jalen? 0. All right. Is equal to negative 40K. And what's negative 18 minus 27? Haley, what you got? Negative 45. All right, Poppy, am I done? No, what I got to do now?
You have to take that. You have to take that with them. Wait.
Do I still have like terms?
Yeah.
All right, what are they?
5K and 40K.
5K and 40K, right? So I'm still trying to balance this equation. Y'all agree? All right, so what does it make more sense to move the 45 or the 40?
40.
The 40, why?
Because of like terms.
Because it's a like term. So since this 40 is negative, I'm going to make it what? And since I did it on the right, I do it on the Lizav. All right. Now freeze. Everybody stop. Who in here from step 1, 2, 3 understands how we got to step 3? Okay. Who got lost on the way? Some of y'all ain't raising your hands. I'm going to say it again because I can see it on your faces. All right. Can you tell me where it is you got lost so maybe I can help you better understand? Okay. No problem. I got a little advice for you though. Some of you all that got lost on the way, it doesn't help if you don't have your eyeballs up on the page when we doing it. I didn't say you in particular, but it's like church. If you feel like the preacher's talking to you, then he's talking to you. I never said Brendan, did I? I said some of you all. So you must have felt that heat. All right. Anyway, I digress. All right, so we got like terms on this side. What do I do with this negative 45? Bring it down. Bow. 5 plus 40 is what?
45.
45 what?
K.
K, right? And now I'm going to do what?
Divide.
Divide what?
45 by 45 is 1.
Negative 45 or positive 45, Jay?
No, negative 40, no, positive 45.
Why positive 45? Well, why the positive 45 is attached to the what? The variable. And we want to do what to the variable?
Get rid of it.
Isolate it. Make it what? When we say isolate, that means what? by itself. So cancel, cancel. K equals what?
One.
Negative 1. I like using my triangle right here, and I do that, and I go. All right, now listen, this is a long problem, and it's a lot of steps. But if you notice, guys, the biggest thing is all you doing, like Doc was saying earlier, you just repeating the same steps over and over and over until you get the variable isolated by itself. All right, it's like measure, cut, measure, cut, measure, cut. You just keep doing it. All right.
So now we're going to see if we got the right answer for number 3. So what I just gave you is a little tool that is going to help you. I gave you an iPad, and it's got a little, it's a self-checking sheet, multi-step equations. Okay, as we said, these are really hard problems. Okay, they're doing a lot. So we want to make sure that you have a tool to be able to check yourself as you're going along. So where you see the form, scroll down. What problem number did we just do?
Tree.
We just did problem number 3. Okay, I don't want you to type X equals or K equals into, see where it says your answer? Type into that answer blank what we think the solution is. Don't put K equals. Just type in to the box a -1. Okay. If you type the right answer into the answer box, it stays purple, just like that. You know you got the correct answer. Type a number, erase that -1, and type in a number besides -1, just so you can see. You get a little warning, right? It says, keep trying, your brain's growing, okay? Obviously, if you have the little sticker that says, or the little announcement that says, keep trying, okay, it just means you're not there yet. You'll get there. Oh, wait 1 second. I'm getting ready to shut up, I promise. Okay. If you see the little notice that says, keep trying, your brain's growing, it just means that you're not right yet. You will be right. You will be correct. Just not right this second. You're going to get there. These are a lot of steps. We understand that. We're going to spend a couple of good days on this because I know how hard these are. It's doing a lot, okay? So just make sure that you are checking yourself as you are going through. And as you do, I only want you to do the first 4. Once you get done with number 4 and you have checked your answer and you know that you've got those, because we did 2 of them together as a group, right? So you really only have 2 to do. Once you get to number 4, and you have checked number 4 and you know that you've got it correct, I want you to get one of us because we're gonna look at number 5 with you before you move on. Yes, ma'am. I will go back to number 1.
For number 1, did you say X equals 5?
X equaled -5.
Oh, -5. Oh, stupid.
Oh,
Well, I'm
no.
not stupid.
Yeah, I was gonna say you are definitely not stupid. There's nobody stupid in here. Not a soul.